So, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to How to Increase Your LinkedIn Social Selling Index. We're looking forward to this presentation by Lou. I'm sorry, by Nick Lucesson. Lucesson. I got it right, Nick. Luce.
Yep.
And before we get to Nick's introduction, I would love to introduce a good friend of Corfax, Johnny Rosen with Anthem IQ. And he's going to give us a little background on this newest venture from Johnny. Johnny, please take over.
Absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate it. It's great to see everyone. And obviously, I've had the chance to meet a lot of you over the past couple of years as I used to work with Real Massive down here in Austin. But recently, I actually moved to a new company called Anthem IQ. And just to intro that real quick, it's basically a new tech startup that was spun out of a tenant rep brokerage shop down here called Elevate Growth Partners. And at a high level, what we've built is transaction management software for tenant reps. The whole idea behind it is you can work with your clients and ultimately take them from initial search all the way to sign lease on one collaborative digital dashboard. Ultimately, you can add your clients to, you can add the different members of your team to, and you can schedule tours, you can do proposal tracking, you can work to a short list in collaboration with your client. The whole idea is that we're trying to get away from the typical coordination, over email, where a lot of clients have their emails flooded with different PDFs and a ton of different attachments throughout the entire transaction. So doing a lot of growth this year. We actually just raised our initial round of funding from Roger and Jeff Staubach down in Dallas. So we're going to be doing a ton of events with a ton of different companies. We're actually going to be doing a webinar for all the Corfax members in a few weeks as well. You should be seeing some emails come through. We're still working on a couple of the logistics of planning that, but it should be in about 2 to 3 weeks. We're offering a month free for all Corfax members. We'd love to talk about it if any of you guys are at least just interested in kind of what it does and what we're doing, because we're doing some really interesting things in collaboration with leasing and the listing side as well. So it's great to be back. This was one of the first calls I made was to Jonathan, when I started working with this firm. So I'll put my info in the chat box as well, and you'll see some emails coming through from us. But we'd love to see you guys in a few weeks, or if you're ever curious just to take a look at it, happy to do a quick demo for any of you as well. But looking forward to this presentation, and really appreciate you guys having me back, and looking forward to being back in person here pretty soon as well.
As are we, Johnny. And thank you again. Johnny's been a really good sponsor of ours. As you know, his previous company, Real Massive, was one of our main sponsors for many years. And, he stayed with us. So we appreciate your loyalty to Corfax, Johnny. And we highly encourage your members to take a look at your newest product. So thank you again for sponsoring.
Absolutely. Appreciate that.
I'm going to move into a little introduction for Nick. Before I get started, and Nick will give you more specific details, but my understanding is we're going to try and do some live questioning here, and he'll prompt you accordingly. But I'll let Nick into the details when I turn it over to him. But right now, I'd like to introduce everyone to Nick Lucesson, who is the owner of Amplify OSM, and his company mission today is to provide sales leadership that delivers results. One tool Nick teaches sales professionals is to leverage social media to hit their sales goals. He believes that LinkedIn, that was the best platform to do so, because it is where your audience is as well. He believes your LinkedIn profile is your digital business card you hand out. Your network wants to help you, but you need to tell them who to introduce you to. You can't pick up the phone and call 2,000 people and tell them the story as fast as you can post it. He's provided LinkedIn training all across the US and in Canada, Latin America, Europe, and Asia to lawyers, accountants, insurance brokers, architects, and real estate professionals, and has over 28,000 LinkedIn connections. Recently created the top LinkedIn influencer list. It's a little tough one, but with that, I turn it over to Nick. Nick?
Thanks everybody for having me. I'm super excited today. I'm kind of a little niche in the fact that I mostly work with commercial real estate brokers across the country. I've worked with companies like JLL and CBRE, Newmark Knight Frank. I've worked with a lot of independents like Bradley and Company in Wyoming, New Mexico, Florida, Texas, ESRP down there as well. So I kind of know your industry, which makes me kind of unique. I also worked with Ken Ashley out of Georgia from Cushman to create the hashtag CREI LinkedIn influencer list for commercial real estate professionals. So what we're going to do today to start is we're going to all learn about our LinkedIn social selling index. So I'm going to put that inside the chat for everybody. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to get started. So the first thing that I want everybody, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
I got to get rid of this somehow. Just give me 1 second. All right. So the first thing that we want to talk about today is our LinkedIn social selling index. All right. Every single person has this. All you're going to do is type in www.linkedin.com/sales/SSI. I put this in the chat as well, but you need to know your numbers to be successful at anything you do. Okay. So you have your industry rank, you have your network rank, and you have these 4 scores that equal this 85 out of 100. Okay. So what we're going to talk about today is the 4 components of your LinkedIn social selling index: establishing your professional brand, finding the right people, engaging with insights, and building relationships. Okay. So what I want you guys to do is, as I go, don't put any questions in the chat. I'm not going to look at them. Just say, hey, Nick, I have a question. Just interrupt me. Okay. And as we go, it would just be easier if I just answer your questions as we go along. All right. So the first thing we're going to talk about is establishing our professional brand. And we're going to start with our profile. All right. I believe your profile is your digital business card. Okay. And I think it's very, very important that we all update our banners. I like to think that your banner is your biggest piece of real estate on LinkedIn. Okay. So you do not want to waste it. You can tell a story here. You can have a tagline. You can have logos. You can have your company logo. A lot of companies just need to work with their marketing teams to create banners, and then you can have all of your employees have the same banner. It's extremely, extremely important that everybody has a banner on LinkedIn. It's the first impression. It's the first story that you tell. The next most important thing is your headshot. You want to make sure you're in a suit and tie, make sure that you're looking good. You want to make sure that you have a title. You want to make sure that you have your location. Some people have contact information that has outdated website companies they used to look at. So we just want to make sure that the first impression we give is the right impression. The next thing we want to talk about is the about section. This is if I was shaking your hand. This is if I was giving you my 30-second commercial. This is me introducing myself to you, socially networking. So what we're trying to do is socially network, because networking in person has kind of been halted due to the pandemic. So you want to write your about section as if you're introducing yourself to somebody. It could be your bio. It could be the list of deals that you have done. You're telling people who you are and what you do. The next section is your featured section. This to me is the most wasted section on LinkedIn. People do not even know it exists and they don't even use it. To me, it's the greatest way to show 2 things that you want people to see right away. I want you to know about this article I wrote, and I want you to know about this list that I created. If this section does not appear on your LinkedIn, you want to go to add profile section and go to featured. You can do posts, articles, links, and different types of media. I do not recommend you have more than 2 featured things. The reason why is if you add a featured, and let's just use this one, it cuts it off and it makes these smaller. So I'm just not a fan of doing 3. I like to do 1 or 2, and you can update them as you see fit. But again, somebody's coming to your profile. What's the story that you're telling? How are they qualifying you? Maybe it's 2 recent deals that you have done that you want to showcase. So really, really important to keep that in mind. This number right here, 1,221, is the most important number on LinkedIn, okay? This is who's viewed your profile in the last 90 days, okay? The reason why it's so important is because this is your digital business card. This tells you how many business cards that you handed out in the last 90 days. Who viewed your profile, right? Can you go through and see who was a part of it? Lindsay, out from Lee's Associates, a broker. Different people. Phil Davis was a client recently. He's a banker out of Georgia. So we can go through and we can see who did I hand out my business card to? Who was learning about me? Who did I tell a story with? Who did I have a conversation with? You have Paul or Avado from Cushman, or Mark from an architecture firm. So who are we telling stories to? And we're trying to drive all of this traffic to our profile. Look at your profile as a website, okay? You're doing SEO and AdWords to drive people to your website. Your profile is the same concept. We want people to learn about who we are. This is our resume. This is where they're qualifying us. We're going to come back to this section in section 3, but this is where all of our posts are, okay? So when we're talking about engaging with insights, you know, anything that we post will come in here and people can see our latest post, and we'll get more into that. The next part of establishing your professional brand is your experience. Where do you work, right? What's your education? Do you have any licenses or certifications? Do you have any volunteer experience? I think the volunteer experience is extremely important. It tells people they can trust you if you were on any boards or different things that you're a part of. The skills and endorsement section, I hate this. This is like the worst part of LinkedIn. It's kind of a useless section, but one of the things that a lot of young brokers make the mistake on is they leave college or next gen brokers and they still have that their top skill is Microsoft Office or Microsoft Excel. We want to make sure that this is just updated. Mainly the one thing that I just want to show you guys is when you go here, never hit the delete button. You're deleting the skill. All you're going to do is unpin and repin your different skills. And it's really the only top 3 that matter. It's not super important. I don't really like that section, but it's just a part of your profile. This section right here, your recommendations are crucial. I am a huge fan of recommendations. I have obviously 75 of them that people say that I've done a good job. Maria is actually from Latin America in Newmark. And it just tells that you can trust me. Frank's from Cushman and Wakefield. Dale's from Cushman and Wakefield, brokers, different brokers, Tactic, another brokerage firm. If you went and viewed my profile, you can say, oh, I trust Nick because Gary, who's a real estate attorney, trusts Nick. Or Anthony, who's an architect, trusts Nick. Or Sheena, who's a broker. Or Tom, who's a broker. So it's just one of the things where you can really build trust with your audience by getting recommendations. You can always use these also to create testimonial graphics, create carts, you know, your challenge, action, result, and the testimonial. But it's also just great to have them on your profile. As we transfer into section 2 of finding the right people, I'm going to talk about how recommendations helps us do that. But before we move on, do we have any questions about establishing your professional brand in your profile?
Sorry, Matt Nugent from McDonald Commercial in Vancouver. I was just curious, a lot of this stuff, is this all available as part of the basic, or is this part of a paid subscription?
All free.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Where should we be on that SSI index?
Yeah, so the highest score that I've seen from a broker is an 86. So if you're somewhere in like the 70s, you're probably doing okay. But it's really about just holistically using it and constantly improving. There's no right or wrong answer. You know, if you're top 1 in your industry, top 1 in your network, you're doing pretty good as well. But you can see down here, it will tell you that there's, you know, the average in my industry is 26. Average in my network is 44. So you can take a look at it and play with these numbers. But I think if you're around a 70, you're doing pretty good.
So Dan, what are you? Let us know.
I will. So it's linkedin.com/feed/
So linkedin.com/SSI. And I also put that in the chat so everybody can go click that. You have to have LinkedIn open to be able to see it.
All right.
Works network SSI ranked 61%, Dan.
Yeah, I'm at 45. My industry rank is 14%, top 14. My SSI ranks top 39, but my SSI is only 45.
And it's super easy to improve it, which is the good thing.
Mine is 3%, and I've got a 63.
It depends on your industry and your network. You're only competing against your connections.
Gotcha.
In that way. So what we're going to talk about next is finding the right people. Okay. So
sorry to do that. So just to clarify, you're saying that the network link is how you compare relative to the rest of your network versus, and then the industry is how you compare with the industry. Is
Correct.
that localized industry, or is that like?
Nope, it's
like
just the industry.
global industry.
Whatever. If you say you're in the commercial real estate industry, it will compare yourself to commercial real estate. If you say you're in the real estate industry, they're the two options that would fit you guys. You would be comparing yourself to them.
So then the network SSI realistically is probably more locally based, just by virtue of the fact that that's probably where your local network is.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
I apologize real quick, and I don't want you to go backwards, but can you show me real quick again how to add the articles that you did? Where's the tab for that?
So the featured section?
Yeah, the featured
so
section.
Right here, it's interesting. There's two parts. You have add featured here when you scroll down, but if you scroll back up, it's in the middle right here.
Add features is what I'm looking for. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Nick.
Yep.
Nick, this is Howard Greenberg. I don't normally invite other brokers into my connections. So if I'm benchmarking against my connections, it's not necessarily against my peers. How do you view that?
Benchmarking against your industry, which is your peers.
Not necessarily against my connections.
Correct. Industry would be benchmarking yourself against other brokers.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to move into finding the right people. This is the most important part of today's lesson. Okay. So what we're going to talk about today is the My Network. Okay. Now, I'm going to start with your original connections. And I'm only going to teach with the free version. If you have Sales Navigator, that's great, but I'm not going to teach in it today. Okay. So your connections, I believe each of you today have 5 people that could pay you money that you forgot to say hi to. Okay. So we want to make sure that we go to search with filters. We go to all filters. We can pick locations. We can pick companies. We can pick schools, industries, anything we want. We could type in director of real estate. We could type in CEO. But who do we know that has the title CEO? I have 1,600, right? You may have 10, you may have 200, but you want to go through that list and be like, oh, I met Don 6 years ago at that conference. Why haven't I said hi to him? Oh, I met Jason 2 years ago. Why haven't I followed up with him? Because you're a first degree connection, you have the marketing channel, this message button to say hi, okay? Now you could just call Jason. You could use it as a way for you just to build a list of people to reach out to that you forgot to say hi to or keep in touch with. But if you don't, you can just hit message and you can say, hey, Jason, it's been a while since we met at that conference. I was just thinking about you today. Are you free next Tuesday at 10 a.m. for a 30-minute Zoom call to catch up? But there is a ton of meetings for each of you on people that you already know that could pay you money, but you forgot to say hi to, okay? So that's step one. Go through your first degree connections and set meetings with people you just forgot about, all right? Now, going back to an extremely important thing, which was asking for a recommendation, okay? So if a past or current client is willing to write you a recommendation, they are willing to introduce you to their network, okay? I'll say that one more time. If somebody's willing to write you a recommendation, they're willing to introduce you to their network. So each of you can build your business and grow your business significantly by just having the confidence, and I say that because most people don't have the confidence, to reach out to their past and current clients and ask them to introduce them to their network, okay? And it's the best bonding and rapport that you can get. If another CEO introduces you to another CEO, he's more likely to hire you than if I introduced you or if you cold called or email market, all right? So what I'm going to use here is Rob. Rob's out of New Mexico, and he's a client of mine. So we're going to go to the connections. And I'm going to go to all filters. And I'm going to say, who does Rob know at Collier's? And I'm going to search that. And I may say to Rob, hey, Rob, I see you're connected to Tom. Do you know him well? Do you mind doing an email introduction? Now, that's the very minimum that I could do, okay? I could call Rob. I could take Rob to lunch, to dinner, to breakfast. I could take him golfing. And I could say, hey, Rob, I see you're connected to these 6 people I really want to meet. Could you set up a golf outing for all of us? Could you set up a dinner for all of us? Could we all go to a sporting event together? You could try to get him to bring 2 people golfing or 3 people to a game because you got a suite that you have. We really want to leverage our past and current clients to introduce us to other CEOs, CFOs, COOs that we want to meet. And they're more than willing to help you because they like you. Now, if people don't like you, I can't help you, okay? But if people like you, I can help you, right? So you want to go and reach out to your past and current clients, and you want to tell them who you want to meet. Because Rob may like me, but Rob may not know how. He may not know who I want to meet. So he'll never introduce me to anybody, okay? But he'd be more than happy to if I asked. There's a company up in Canada. And this is called People and Companies next, okay? I saw a CoreNet email that they were hiring a salesperson in New York City. So I went here, I found the CEO, and I saw who we were connected to. And I saw that we were connected through Matt. So I call this cold calling for introductions. I don't know if Matt knows Richard well, but there's other 24 people or 23 people I can ask. But I emailed Matt and I said, hey, Matt, I see you're connected to Richard. Do you know him well? Would you mind making an email introduction? For your convenience, you can copy and paste below. And Matt sent the email. I got hired to find their BD person in New York City. So I leveraged my entire network to get me a meeting. And to me, that's where your sales process starts. If there's a company that you're trying to meet, you can go research who the decision maker is. Do you have anybody in your network who can make an introduction? If the answer is no, we can then use Zoom info. We can call their mobile number. We can email market. We can send a letter. We can try to connect on LinkedIn. We can try to message them. We can try to get a meeting another way. But the easiest way to get a meeting is from a bonding and rapport, somebody that knows you, who's willing to vouch for you. So finding the right people could be instrumental, either through looking who your first degree connections are, looking at it from a past and current clients, and looking at it from people or companies. One of my favorite ones to teach is Netflix. I had a client that was up in New York City, and she does marketing mostly just for streaming services. And she wanted to meet this person, Bozema St. John. And it was hilarious because her connection was a priest that her husband was really good friends with. So a priest could introduce her to the chief marketing officer of Netflix. You have no idea who your network knows. You have no idea who can help you. That's why you got to be connected with them on LinkedIn. That's why you have to build that database on LinkedIn. So then you can leverage your network to help you get where you want to go.
Sorry, Nicholas, can I ask you a question? Sorry, I'm gonna, if you're okay with me peppering you, I will.
Please interrupt at any time.
So let's say I have 1,000 people on my network and I'm looking for, John Doe. And do I have to go through all of my 1,000 first person or second person connections to find out who actually knows John Doe? Or can I search my entire network to see if anybody matches that?
Yeah, you can just search John Doe and then you'll see if anybody in your network is connected.
Can you show us? I know it sounds dumb, but can you show us how you do that? If you wanted to find
just right here. So if I was going to do Verna Myers, there's 80 people that I share that connection with.
Okay.
So it automatically tells you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So if I go back, you can see that some of these people say that I'm a third. That means I have no connections.
Yeah. Okay.
One thing like that.
Hey, Nick.
Yep.
This is Josh Gisband from San Jose, California. And when you pulled this up, I live right next door to Netflix in Los Gatos. So I see Reed Hastings as the CEO. I see Brent Wickens as corporate operations. How would I go and try to get to these people and go knock on the door, literally 100 yards from my home?
Yeah, you probably can't, right? So you probably got to find somebody in your network who can make an introduction.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be able to just walk into the CEO's office, but maybe you have somebody that Reed, for whatever reason, have kids that play on the same baseball team.
Correct.
Maybe they're really good friends. It's actually an important point you just helped me remember to tell you is do not ask for introductions if you're not going to be grateful. It takes people like 10, 20, 30 years to build relationships, and they are saving you tons of money to try to get to people, tons of time to try to get to people. You have to understand that an introduction is extremely valuable, and you need to be extremely grateful when you get it. Because it's hard to get a meeting with Reed Hastings, right? And the only reason why Reed Hastings is meeting with you is because you have somebody in your network with enough pull to get that meeting for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But it's very hard. You can never knock on his door, right? It's not going to work.
And the campus is completely vacant. I ride my bicycle and I take my dogs for a walk there.
So what we're going to talk about next is one of my favorite parts. We're going to go to enter inside search, and we're going to go to people. And we're going to create a bonding and rapport list around our education. So let's say I was looking for whatever reason, Philadelphia, and I wanted to see who went to Penn State that was a CEO. You can do that. You can type in director of real estate. You can do that. You can type in CFO. You can do that. And so we'll just do it for fun. You know, I get a list of like 250 people in Philadelphia that went to the same school as me, right? So I can call Donald. I would never say my name is Nick Lucessin. I'm the owner of Amplify OSM. Donald will hang up that phone so fast. I'll never get a shot to actually tell him why I'm calling. What I would do is I would call Donald and say, hey, Donald, I see we both went to Penn State. He will let me say whatever I want next. Does that make sense to everybody? If you're going to create a cold calling strategy, create it around bonding and rapport opportunities. And using your education is one of the best ways to do it.
Can I ask another question? I had to walk away for a second. How do you get into this again?
You just go to search right here, and you just go enter. And then you would click, I got to reset it.
Search.
Yeah. And then you would click people. There's all these different options, people, jobs, companies, but we're going to play in people. And then you would kind of go through to all filters, and then you can pick whatever you want to pick from a filter section.
Okay, thank you.
So the last thing is just building a prospect list as well. So just generically wanting to know different companies, different people that we want to search. So we're just going to go and build a prospect list real quick. And again, we're going to go into people. And we may go through and we may say, you know, who in New York City. And we're going to use industry this time. And we're going to use law practice. And we're going to type in the title, managing partner. So who's a managing partner of a law firm in New York City? We have our list. We could even say who is at least a second degree so we can know we can get an introduction. We can do whatever we want from a filtering standpoint to help us hit our goals. I'm going to just show you one thing real quick in Sales Navigator, just because I want you guys to understand the value of it. It has extreme time savings. And that's why you pay the $80 a month for it, if anybody was going to ask that question. If we use geography, and we type in New York City, and we look at law practice again, and we want to go down, and for whatever reason, we type in managing partner again. The reason why I love Sales Navigator is I can go in here and I can go to company headcount, and I could want to see only companies of 200, 500 to 200 employees. Now, LinkedIn is a dirty system, so it's not perfect. LinkedIn is only taking data that people tell it. So you always have to verify it. You want to highlight over this. You want to click into the employees, and you want to see that they really have 58. Now, I believe this number is accurate, plus or minus 10%. People do not say they work somewhere unless they do. You may have forgot to take yourself off or whatever, but this number is probably pretty accurate. All right, so that was session 2, finding the right people. Do we have any questions about asking our first degree connections for meetings, leveraging our past and current clients, searching people and companies, using our education for bonding a rapport, or building a prospect list? Any questions?
I think we have to practice on this. You're a little faster than we would be.
So this is typically a 4-hour training.
Okay, got it.
You guys can all pay individually for it if you like. It's $3,000 for the 4 hours. Happy to take all of your money. But this session today, to be honest with you, is to inspire you guys to want to learn more. I can't train you in a way that you're going to come away as an expert today, right? Mm-hmm. It's not going to happen. So my goal is to just make sure you know the possibilities of it. Hopefully you'll grab 1 or 2 things you can do, but obviously when you need to learn something, it takes more training to kind of get there. But any questions? Because that's the most important section before I move on to session 3. No? All right, we're moving on. All right, now we're going to play a little bit off of LinkedIn for the next section. All right. So does everybody see this Word document? Mm-hmm. Blank? All right. So when we talk about engaging with insights, we're going to talk about LinkedIn posting, okay? So the reason why you don't post on LinkedIn is not because you don't know how. You can upload a picture, you can paste a link. It's because you don't know what to post, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to create a LinkedIn posting strategy, okay? So the first thing you need to do when you create a strategy is set a goal, okay? So we have to decide, are we going to do 26 posts a year, 52 posts a year, or 104? I highly recommend you don't post more than twice a week. I believe you are annoying if you post more than twice a week, okay? It's like you're sending me too many emails. It's just annoying. You can either post every other week, once a week, or twice a week. So that's kind of where these numbers come from. The next thing you want to do is think of your LinkedIn brand, okay? Now, I think everybody has the same brand. It's going to be the company you work for, but it's your role within that company. It's going to be your education. It's going to be your community involvement. It's going to be your associations that you're on boards of, members of, or events that you attend, BizNow or whatever. And then it's also going to be your industry publications. All right.
I have a question quickly. Sure. Have you found in your experience that you get better engagement by posting certain days of the week or certain times a day?
Yeah, as long as you don't post on Friday, you should be okay. People don't really use LinkedIn that much on Friday, so you don't get as many likes and comments, and people don't engage that much. I'm a big fan of posting like Monday morning or Tuesday morning or Wednesday morning. I feel morning time's better, especially with the pandemic, because once you get to the nighttime these days, people are kind of getting off and spending more time with their family. So you get less engagement when you post at night. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday morning to me is like the best time. It lives longer than like the LinkedIn ecosystem in a way.
Awesome. Thanks.
So what we're going to talk about here is how many posts are we going to do around our company? I believe half of your post should be about your role within the company. So that would be 26 if we're going to pick 52 once a week. You could do 4 posts about your education. You could do 4 posts about your community involvement. If you aren't on any boards and you don't volunteer anywhere, you and a significant other, when times are normal, can go to a gala together, and it's a great date night. It's an awesome LinkedIn post. I'm supporting this, right? Now, the reason why it's important to share your community involvement is because it tells your connections that they can trust you and that you're a good person. So I'm a huge fan of community involvement type stuff. Your events and your associations, let's say you were had speaking engagements and you were on moderating panels and you're attending events and you're on the board of an organization and you're on the membership committee and you're trying to get members, or you're on the sponsorship committee and you're trying to get sponsorship. Any of these things we could post about. It could just be a picture with you and somebody else at an event and you're writing great event, but we can do 12 of them essentially. They're also the ones that get the most likes. And then you can just have filler content. So you can kind of add this up. You're at 30, you're at 42, you're at 46, and your last post. And this industry publications is like BizNow articles, The Real Deal, CoStar. It's nothing that's really about you. It's just industry type topics that you would want to share with your audience. So the next thing we want to do is think about our LinkedIn content sources, okay? So when we think about this, we got to figure out, where is our content going to come from for our company? Some people are going to have blogs that the company writes. Some people are going to write their own articles using LinkedIn articles. Some people are going to create videos. Some people are going to do graphics of deals they've completed. Some people are going to do case studies, PDFs. You can choose to do anything you want, but I really highly recommend that it's your role within the company. So I'm going to show you guys a couple examples. This is my client in New York. I'm a big fan of you with the client, with the logo in the background, and then just like 2 pictures of the project. What was really cool about this as well is his client also shared it, and he got 57 likes on it as well. So it was able to kind of grow in both ways. Another thing, I'll just show you Rob's as well. We do a couple good things for him. You can do client testimonials. And we built this graphic as well. You can do case studies. And this was, we just did it inside the article section. So you need to create a graphic so people want to go read your article. This was the challenge, the action, the result, and the testimonial. You could highlight your employees as well. I think that's a great way if you're trying to recruit people to your team. So this was something we did yesterday for him. This is just a team member spotlight. You can see I got 46 likes and 15 comments. But there's a lot of great ways to share your role within the company. I'll give you a couple other ideas. This is just some awards. This was a market minute type video.
Hey, Nicholas, when you say that you did this for him, so am I getting that right, that you're basically his LinkedIn profile manager? Yeah, so he just says, I need you to do this, and you guys take care of it for him?
When I work with my clients, it's a year contract, and I work with them for an hour each week. We do LinkedIn posting and LinkedIn prospecting together.
What does a contract like that run?
It depends on if you need my graphic person, and like we do all the graphics for him as well.
Ballpark? Is there a ballpark so we can get a sense of what, you know, retaining your services would look like?
20 to 24 grand.
Okay. How much?
20 to 24 grand.
Good to know. Thanks, Nicholas.
And you can see we create the graphics around the photo of different deals that he's done. So it just depends on kind of what your needs are and what you want help with, doing video or different things. But, you know, all this stuff is just great content to show who you are and kind of what you do. LinkedIn posting for me is just incredible. the value of it, it kind of going back to when I was introduced, we have to understand the value, right? So inside a post, this got 7,000 views. I can't make 7,000 calls and tell people about this conference that we're having in Lake Tahoe, where 91 people from CBRE, 72 from Cushman, 54 from JLL, 45 from Colliers, 27 from Newmark. I can't call Avis and Young and all these people to tell my story. Also, you can't get that many people to open an email. So it's really important to make sure that you're posting on LinkedIn, because it's the greatest form of marketing and it gets the most eyeballs and the most interactions. So the other
can you show how you navigated to what you're doing right now?
Sure. So I just went into post.
Wait, I'm sorry, could you start from the beginning? From your homepage, how do you get into posts?
So I went to me, and then I just went to post and activities. That's one way, right? The other way is through your profile and just going down and going to see all activity.
Okay.
And then going into your post. But the other thing that I love about this is the likes, okay? I consider a like a lead. And just so you know, if you're getting more than 15 likes per post, you are an above average poster. If somebody likes your post, that means they're endorsing you. They're endorsing what you're doing. It's very hard to get a like. So I can go through here. It's my favorite way to set meetings. I go through here and I may say, hey, Natalie or Joe or Sarah or Nicole or Dennis or Michael or Nick, thank you for liking my post. It made me think of you. Are you free next week on Tuesday at 10 a.m. for a 30-minute Zoom call to catch up? Because they've shown interest in me. If somebody's willing to show interest in you, that's considered a lead by like the HubSpot definition. A person or company who's shown interest in you. So whenever anybody likes my post, if I want to meet with them, I reach out and say, thank you for liking it. Let's catch up. You can set tons and tons of meetings that way. So we're going to finish this real quick. So you create your content sources. I'm going to kind of skip this. And what we do each month is we just write our monthly posting strategy. Okay. So all we have to do is think about, what am I going to post May 10th? What am I going to post May 17th? What am I going to post May 24th? And what am I going to post May 31st? And you just say, okay, I know that I have a deal that I'm closing. Let me post about that deal. Let me get a picture with my client. I know that on the 17th, I'm doing something in the community. I have a virtual 5K. Let me post about that. I know the week of the 24th, I have something for like CCIM, an event that I'm attending. Let me post about that. And I know the week of May 31st, you know, there may not be a lot of people following LinkedIn that week. Maybe I just do an industry publication. You just have to think, who am I in May? And how do I want to share that with my connections? But I can guarantee if you don't think through what you want to post, you will never post anything. So it's just really important to say, who am I and how do I want to share that with others? A couple quick things before we go into the last session. Or how much time do I have left? Am I still good? On time? All right. So it's just a couple quick things is hashtags. If you do hashtag real estate, it has real value. We don't make up hashtags. I'll explain that in a second. And then also the @ symbol, you can tag people or you can tag companies as well, but that's the @ symbol. So if we want to do like Netflix or whatever. So what I'm going to teach you guys about hashtags is really important. So if you go into the search bar, you can actually type in hashtag real estate and you can find out how many people actually follow that hashtag. You do not make up hashtags. The reason why you see things in your feed is because you follow certain people and you follow certain hashtags. So there's reasons why you can make them up. And if you can build a hashtag that people follow, they're more likely to see your post. But you just don't make up like hashtag Nick is awesome. Nobody's following that, right? So it's important that we understand the value. There's also little differences. This is one of my favorites. So hashtag pharmaceutical has about 75,000 followers, okay? You can also just come up here and change it around as well. but hashtag pharmaceuticals has 1 million. So 75,000 followers, 1 million followers. That could have more impact. The other thing I want to show you real quick is that you only want to use 3 hashtags. There's a reason why, and it's because it's part of the algorithm. It creates an actual URL, which is kind of fascinating. So hashtag networking, marketing, and sales. When I copy that link to post and I paste it, it says networking, marketing, and sales. It uses your hashtags to create the URL. And you only ever get to use 3. So just don't waste your time doing too many of them. All right. So we have about 12 minutes left, and I have one more section. Any questions on engaging with insights? And there's another million pieces to that puzzle, but any questions on what we talked about today? All right, so we're going to go to the last section, which is building relationships. It's the most boring part of my training today. It's not anything special, but we'll go through some kind of interesting features of it. So I play in the My Network, and I play in the notifications button for building relationships. You can add your teammates. You can actually add your contacts on your phone to a database inside LinkedIn. And then you can pay an admin to just go through and hit connect, and you can do 100 a day. People I follow. So this is a fascinating one for me. I didn't build LinkedIn just so we're all on the same page. You can't click this button right here. I can't click my 26,972 followers. You have to click your 28,000 followers, and then you have to go back to the 26,000 following. That's the only way you see it. And then if somebody's posting too much and they're kind of annoying, you can just click unfollow. Now, it says unfollow to stop seeing their post in your feed. Don't worry, they won't be notified. So if you're unfollowing people, you're still being connected. You're just going to stop seeing their political post or whatever is annoying you, and you don't want to follow that day. So it's an interesting thing to just know. The people you follow are the reason why you see their content. So if you're seeing too much of somebody's content that you don't like, just unfollow. Groups is a fascinating thing for me here. We'll just use the first one, Cornet, to start. And you can see that there's 9,000 members. Just because we're a part of the same group, I'm allowed to message the corporate real estate person here, or whoever it is. I can actually just hit the message button, and it's like a free InMail. If anybody's familiar with LinkedIn InMails, which is a paid thing, and you get 20 free if you have Sales Navigator. But because we're in the same group, I can actually message them. Now there's a limit to it, but it's nice the fact, and I don't know what the limit is. I've never really kind of figured out the entire limit. But it is nice that you can message people without being a first degree connection. It's kind of a nice little workaround in a way. And then you have events. The event section is my most love-hate relationship on LinkedIn. So it's fascinating because when you have an event, this one blows my mind. I did this event and I didn't know any better at the time, right? And I had 88 people say they were going to attend, 86 people. I think 5 of these people actually attended my event. Thank God I did email marketing as well. We ended up having a good group. But I didn't know that when you create an event on LinkedIn and you invite your connections, it's really just an advertisement. So what I do now is I actually write must register via a Eventbrite link sometimes. And I also will just kind of put in, to attend the event, you must register through the Eventbrite link. The nice part of it is that you can invite your connections kind of instantly. And what's really cool is that you still have to pick them in a way, but it's just a really nice way to kind of, there's a filter type feature where you can do certain companies, something for you guys to look more into, but just understand that it's more of an advertising thing and people aren't actually attending your event if they accept it. It's annoying, but just know it exists. I'm not really into pages or newsletters or any of that stuff, and just know the hashtags you follow is why that kind of content that you see is in front of you. So there's a complicated thing that I could show you guys if we have a little time at the end, but I'll hold off for now. So one of the last things I want to show you is your notifications. the notification thing, you can see that my notifications are clean, okay? I'm a big fan of going in and wishing people happy birthday. I just wrote an article on it, and it had to do with like top 10 ways to build relationships. But, you know, you never know when it's people's birthday unless LinkedIn tells you or Facebook tells you, because we don't remember all this stuff. So it's great to go in each day and say happy birthday to people that you want to, you know, like Denise or any of these people. But you don't get to see this unless you clean up your notifications. So I'll go back real quick. You kind of see where I was at. We'll do that again real quick. So you're going to be in notifications, and then you're going to click view settings. And then when you're in view settings, you can go to conversations, any of these things, jobs, network, news, and you can just turn off the news. So you don't see all this BS stuff that's blocking you from seeing whose birthday it is each day. I wake up every morning and I see whose birthday it is and I say, hey, happy birthday or whatever. So you can turn off jobs, you can turn off help center. I just like to see whose birthday it is, when they have work anniversaries, and when they change jobs. So that's what's important for me, is always wishing people happy birthday. It's a big thing for me, and I think it's a great way to build relationships. So I'm leaving 6 minutes left for questions. I have another million things I could talk to you about, but I hope, you know, you guys at least got a good overview of how LinkedIn could help you guys improve your business.
Do you do the 4-hour course that you're talking about for people, individuals, groups? And
yep, I do the 4-hour training for up to 20 people because I go through everybody's profile. And when we're done the first section, most people have all their profiles fixed. So I go through each of the profiles individually. I prepare about 2 hours ahead of time. And I make sure that people understand how, like, what's wrong with their profile and how they can fix it. You guys have me for another 5 minutes. It's free too. We can ask as many questions.
What does that cost? What does that cost?
What?
What does that cost to fix?
It's $3,000 for the training.
God bless.
Anybody have any other questions? Please ask now. We have a few minutes left.
I can show you guys one more really fun thing since we got time, if you guys don't have any questions.
I have a question. This is Hillary Steinberg in Las Vegas with MDL Group. Our company does a lot of posts on our behalf. Does it improve or does it degrade the algorithm if we share those posts?
Oh, I love that question. So I was working with a company that had 700 employees, and their marketing person like loves me now, even though a normal marketing person would hate me when I told them this. I said, you do not ever want to share the company page, right? And the reason why is it has no value from an algorithm perspective. I'm going to share my screen. If I can do it real quick, I think you guys would have a really good understanding of this. So the way that the algorithm works is they don't consider it a post, even though it is a post, right? So this is the lady who actually wanted to get that introduction to Netflix. So if I can do this real quick for you guys. All right, should be right here. All right, so do you see how this post got 46 likes and 6 comments? And she did the post herself, okay? Now the same exact post, when she shared the company page, should come up in a second. See if we can find it real quick. Only had 4 likes, right? It's because LinkedIn doesn't put it in front of your connections. It's I kind of don't like that. Like, they should give more value to it, but they don't give it any value. So you're better off like saving that image or saving that link and sharing it yourself so your connections can actually see it. When you share a company page, LinkedIn pretty much says, sorry, I don't care. Like, and neither will your connections. So you have to kind of do the post yourself for it to have value.
So to answer that question directly, Nick, so if, like, say my company puts out a post about me, I turn around and it comes from our company, Patterson Woods, and I turn around and share it. That's okay? Or
No. Some people can beat the algorithm. I've seen one person do it, and she's amazing at it. I don't know how she can get so many likes and views on a share, but typically most people are not. Their connections are never going to see the post because LinkedIn doesn't put it in front of them because you're sharing a company page. Some people can beat the algorithm, but it doesn't work for like 99.9% of people. You're better off just creating that post yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll show you. I'm not going to do the fun thing for you guys. I'm going to do something I think you'll find a little bit more valuable. Just teaching some little tricks. If you ever post a video, LinkedIn doesn't want people leaving LinkedIn, by the way. Let's keep that in mind. So anytime it's a link, it's less valuable than if you do like a direct upload. So let's say we were going to upload this video right here. Right. It's going to show a blank black screen. That always happens. And people make the mistake of uploading videos without a thumbnail. So you always have to add a thumbnail. And then you'll see that that picture will show up here. And then people can hit play and then they can see the video. So it's just, you don't upload a video as is. You always have to have like that first image of that video or a graphic telling people why to kind of see it.
Gotcha.
All right, guys, we have a minute left. I hope you guys enjoyed today. Do we have maybe like one last question?
I'm good. Anybody else have any questions for Nick? I think you have to roll into your next meeting, right, Nick?
Yeah, and I'll put in the chat my contact information, my email and phone number, but you guys can always connect with me on LinkedIn as well.
Nick, Nick, for us dinosaurs, you just gave my head spinning. I mean, I didn't realize how much value there is to LinkedIn. And again, it's in my backyard as well here in Silicon Valley, but amazing what you've just done. I just need to be able to process what you've said. So, hey, HQ, is this video being recorded so we can review it again and go through what Nick has told us?
Indeed.
Perfect.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, everybody, my information is in the chat if you guys need to set a meeting or whatever. And then make sure you guys check out your LinkedIn Social Selling Index. I put that in the chat as well. And I'd love to kind of get to know you guys and learn how I can help, after this call with anybody who needs some LinkedIn support.
Fantastic. Nick's been very informative. Thank you very, very much today. We appreciate everything. LinkedIn is a crucial tool for us. So we'll let you move on to your next one and have a great one, man. Thank you.
Guys.
Thanks, Nick.
Corvac Nation, thanks again for joining us today for this webinar. As mentioned, it is recording and will be posted on the website, on the member section of the website. If you want to go back and review, this is one you probably will want to because he did move pretty quickly, but there was a lot of information in that hour.
Hey, Joe.
Yes, sir.
I just sent the chat, but just to the staff that, I don't know if how he whacks up his $3,000 per 4-hour session, but if Corfac could put a group together, even if it's $250 a session, I'd be happy to attend. I think this guy's got a lot to say. And if it wasn't so fast, we could absorb it some more, get facilitated with it.
I would assume that something that staff could work on. I would just, check on the pricing again too, because he threw out a couple different numbers. 3,000, and I heard 24,000 in there too.
Well, that's like an annual with all the graphics and the posting and everything else. Yeah.
But no, I think that's a great idea. Thanks, Howard. We'll look.
And I'd second that. If there's a way to get in on that, I'm like,